Assalamualaikum Nadreen Hazreen. The person on my left, actually everyone has seen her. There was a morning host who also kissed your hand.
Yeah.
That also happened.
That also happened.
But yeah, we are Shehrbano Nakvi, our most popular ASP right now, and for good reason. And we'll talk about that incident as well. But yeah, hi, welcome.
Where should I be looking in the cameras?
So there's camera here.
Hi.
So you can literally look anywhere, even not look in the camera. That's also fine. But yeah, man, things have changed. I feel the last time I knew you, the last time we met, things have. You're a very different person.
Yes.
For sure.
I wouldn't say much about being a different person, but I would say yes, the circumstances have changed.
Circumstances have changed, for sure. Like, are you still rebellious? Because I do remember Shehrbano as a rebellious person.
For a person who knows you personally, I think it's a bad idea to give interviews. I wouldn't say, earlier it was being a rebel without a cause.
Okay.
Now we have a cause. And the cause is to make things better.
That's a good line. Not gonna lie, that's a good answer. That's nicely done. But no, man, I do want to kind of jump more into it. Like, मैं straight up उस incident पे भी जानना चाहता हूँ कि kind of like, you know, also, wait a second, so sorry, we'll go back a little bit. How did you become ASP and what were you before? Where were you before? Yeah.
So basically, I gave CSS in 2019. Police service of Pakistan was my first preference.
Got it.
And prior to that, I was working for the Intelligence Bureau, and I was posted in Islamabad. And before that, I was doing my degrees. And if we backtrack a little bit more, I was with you in Psychiatry.
There. इतना ज़्यादा झूठ बोला गया है. Straight up lies, dude. मैं Beacon House through and through. Beacon House Liberty मेरे उसमें भी आता है. I was like, what?
No. They asked me about Beacon House Liberty. That's why I said what I said. But yes, it's a close affiliation because I grew up studying in that school, and you know, जो formative years होते हैं, they leave an indelible mark on you.
They do.
So I think that was probably the only interview in which I forgot to mention Psychas, and I've been reprimanded for that.
Fair enough. मैंने वही देखा and I was like.
Yeah. But in the other interviews I mentioned Psychas.
Okay, fair enough. Forgiven. But yeah, so that's like एक तो बहुत सारी पढ़ाई. I didn't remember you as a maybe you were पढ़ाकू. Because so how many years of studies is it all together?
18 years of education.
18, no, after A-levels.
After A-levels, 6 years of education, which is kind of like normal.
Okay, 6 years not bad.
Yeah.
6 years not bad. And then that's usually the route अगर कोई police में जा रहा है.
No, that's not the case. You can actually give the exam by doing a simple BA as well.
Okay.
So you just have to be a graduate. So you can give it after undergrad, you can give it after a simple bachelor's,
Okay.
or you can give it after an honors, or you can give it after a master's. So it primarily it depends on your journey.
But are the routes different? So if somebody just after BA gives the exam to come into police, or in your case, you know, going the route of CSS, IB, and then getting into police, क्या वो different है उनके?
आपकी circumstances define you and hone you. So I would say that your skills become more sharp.
Okay.
And of course, when you are in different situations and different circumstances, you learn a bit more. So obviously, whatever is that you do, an amount of time that you invest in either your education or your work or gaining work experience, that at the end of the day adds up to how you're going to act in the service or how you're going to perform. But as far as the recruitment process goes, you can basically give CSS after completing your simple bachelor's as well.
Okay, but CSS देना लेकिन जरूरी है.
Yeah, that's the mandatory thing to do.
That is
if you want to be recruited as an ASP.
An ASP.
Yeah.
Okay. But दूसरे route से भी बंदा was probably longer and.
हाँ, दूसरे से you entered into the ranks and then you progress through that.
Got
Like, you're either recruited as an assistant sub-inspector or a sub-inspector, and then you turn into an inspector and then a DSP, and then
Because CSS is tough, by the way. CSS is not easy.
Yeah, so we heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
के एंड आई फील के CSS पे ये भी है लाइक अब पहले ये भी था ना अब पहले था कि आप 2 दफा ट्राई कर सकते हैं 3 दफा अब नहीं कुछ ऐसा भी चक्कर कुछ चेंज हुआ था अच्छा आप कर सकते हैं
नहीं you've got 3 attempts
you got 3 attempts it's not unlimited attempts
no
okay
that was never the case
okay
but it's more of it's an exam of tenacity and resilience as opposed to it obviously requires a certain level of intelligence but tenacity and resilience plays a very pivotal role in defining whether you will be clearing it or not because it takes a lot of mental toll given that you have 30,000 or so people appearing in the exam and the clearance and the passing percentage is 1 or 1.5 so the odds are bad
yeah and it's like how many kids apply
a lot
it's like in thousands right
yeah
wow
thousands yeah
no man congrats
thank you
pretty cool but no so now I want to jump into उस दिन का जो incident but so उस दिन like how did it start like I've seen obviously your interviews जिसमें you're saying एक पहले call आती है because there's something about वो shopkeeper as well कि उसने भी काफी bravery दिखाई he shut the store or something and then I saw somebody were also saying कि when you were entering usually लोग बड़े वो nonchalant से they were very easy like हाँ आगे जाके आप देख लें वहाँ हो रहा है so yeah walk me through that कि how the whole thing transpired
basically everybody had at the end of the day it is of course you cannot take into account you cannot not take into account the role everybody had to play
and my one more question in this is this a common occurrence this kind of a phone call
okay so there are like multiple questions all wrapped in one okay so the first thing is that as far as a common occurrence goes statistics would suggest that you do receive such calls and it's one of the many calls that you receive so for a police officer receiving such a call it requires obviously signifies urgency signifies that you have to act promptly and signifies that you have to be at the given situation as soon as possible and these are the mandatory SOPs that we follow and such calls do occur it's not something that I would say that never occurs because considering the legal system that we have in place and the kind of laws that we have as per the constitution of the country you have this is an offense anyway so such calls do occur as far as the second part of the whole series of questions is concerned moving back to the first part अच्छा so the thing is that हमें सिर्फ उर्दू में बात अंग्रेजी में बात करनी है उर्दू
up to you बिल्कुल
अच्छा हाँ तो 15 की कॉल आती है अराउंड 333 अच्छा तो उसके ऊपर obviously everybody reaches within 15 minutes of time everybody was there ठीक है तो उधर सबसे पहले जो 15 की कॉल का रिस्पॉन्डर होता है ना it is Dolphin
okay
Dolphin बनी ही रिस्पॉन्स के लिए
अच्छा
ठीक है
this is quick response
हाँ quick response because they've got heavy bikes and they're able to reach into areas जहाँ वैसे गाड़ी नहीं पहुँच सकती है
makes sense
सही है अच्छा अब ये पाकिस्तानी चौक में हुआ which again इचरा का कमर्शियल हब है तो आगे जाके था तो it's a 4-5 minutes walk ठीक है मेन फिरोजपुर रोड से 4-5 मिनट की वॉक है गली अंदर करके ना उधर हुआ है अच्छा as far as the person who gave them refuge with the help of the dolphin the dolphin team was present the dolphin team was present तो उसने जब डॉल्फिन उन्हें लेके गए दुकान में तो उसने शटर नीचे किया has been the worthy IGP met him and he has been made the ambassador for the minority center that the police is running.
Oh really? That person?
In acknowledgement of the service that he provided.
Very good.
So everybody has been duly acknowledged as per the role that they played.
Got it.
And as far as the crowd being indifferent is concerned, that wasn't the case. And it could be seen in other videos that you might not have come across.
No, you mentioned something कि वो तो था ही जो वहाँ crowd था. When you were going from start उस जगह
उसके अंदर they were indifferent.
Yeah. That was very weird, eerie सा feeling.
That leaves a huge question mark because उससे ये show होता है कि we allow the fare of a couple of we allow how I would say कि how people who are being driven by mob psychology to hold the majority of hostage. So that leaves a question mark on the society.
वो mob mentality, I don't know if it took psychology.
Yeah, mob
Remember
mentality is when, you know,
case study.
Exactly. So mob mentality signifies that, considering it's a collective responsibility and nobody would be held accountable individually, so everybody's threshold of how they would act changes and it drops. All right?
You're a different person.
हाँ, तो ये तो था, लेकिन फिर आ जाता है कि how the whole majority is held hostage to whatever is happening, and because of the fear that they might also face some sort of negative repercussion, that they do not put themselves forward to save the person. So that also puts a question mark on people who say that ये तो आपकी duty है, आपको तनख्वाह मिलती है इस चीज की. It's a common criticism ना कि पुलिस को तनख्वाह मिलती है इस चीज की तो करके दिखाए. ठीक है ना. तो फिर वही पुलिस वाला बाद में पर्चे भी भुगतता है, इस्तगासे भी भुगतता है, इंक्वायरियां भी भुगतता है, अगर वो बंदा जो नहीं उसे कुछ हो जाए. No, that I agree. ठीक है ना. तो लॉस भी वही करे, स्पेस करे. So there, you know,
it's a tricky situation.
It's a very tricky situation.
You can't that's why nobody has been able to do anything.
Because, you know, if had things gone wrong, you know, had things gone wrong, nobody would have taken ownership of it.
That's true.
Yeah.
And so you get the call, you reach, and then what happens next? Like the whole even like I'm sure you had to crowd के बीच में से गुजरना होगा उस mob के नहीं?
Exactly. So
and they were उस time तक mob बस खड़ा हुआ था दुकान के बाहर.
मार रहा था ना. They were shouting slogans.
They were gaining momentum.
So the thing is कि आपको ना, this is where, you know, the idea कि longer postings होनी चाहिए plays in, because I've served there for more than a year now. I've been the ASP of the area for more than a year now. Right?
So you know area कैसे?
Naidek, Gulberg, Galib Market, Ichra and Shadman are my jurisdiction. That's my circle.
And does this come as a more highly sensitive area?
जहाँ ये हुआ था, it's a commercial hub, and PSL was happening 3 or 4 kilometers away. So had anything gone wrong, it would have made international headlines. ठीक है, रोड ब्लॉक कर देते. नहीं जाने देता.
But मेरा ये है कि
पकड़ लेते, मुझे पकड़ लेते. You know, things would have been a disaster.
But are there spots in Lahore you would say are slightly more sensitive than say probably ये शायद defense में ना होता या maybe इधर ना होता या नहीं कुछ फर्क इधर भी हो सकता है कहीं भी हो सकता है.
हो सकता है, कहीं भी हो सकता है when it comes to मतलब.
I'm learning this thing in particular.
हाँ, इससे पिछली जो कॉल चली थी pertaining to this was from Firdaus Market. ठीक है. So that's an area of Gulberg.
Yeah.
तो कहीं भी हो सकता है. I would say कि you cannot just specify, but yes, certain areas are more prone to it, given maybe the economic strata or certain socio-economic indicators. So you cannot rule that out. Of course, you can't rule those out.
Yeah. No. So you reach.
Yeah. And then there's slogans and everything, and then we make way, and then the woman is huddled inside in a corner, and the debate was going on whether we should make her change the kurta right there and then or not. And
but she must be terrified though.
She was terrified.
I can only imagine.
She was trembling and she was like, they'll kill me. So yeah.
That's a tough one. Yeah.
But things do happen, and then you know.
Yeah. Quick, but I'm sure that must have been सारा कुछ बहुत जल्दी decisions लेनी हो उस वक्त तो.
ऐसा ही होता है. But chance, they always say favors the trained mind. So.
And is there like a police pay? I'm guessing there's a protocol to these situations.
Yeah, there are.
Or there's no set protocol.
नहीं, कुछ SOPs होते हैं. उसके अंदर ये होता है कि अगर religious offense की कॉल है या फिर रोड ब्लॉक है या कोई ऐसा mob gathering की कॉल है या law and order situation की कॉल है, तो you have to respond ASAP.
Okay.
उसका बहुत strong notice होता है. बाद में आपकी 1-5 की कॉल किस टाइम पे हुई है और आप कब पहुंचे हो और आपने कंट्रोल को वापसी दी है, उसका रिस्पॉन्स टाइम भी नोट होता है.
सही है.
एक तो ये चीज हो गई. दूसरा ये है कि whenever you reach such a situation, you have to look into the people who are playing the pivotal role in exacerbating the situation. So you need to take those individuals out, and you have to isolate them from the crowd. Because आपने notice किया होगा हमेशा large gatherings के अंदर भी there are certain people, you know, जो चीखें मार रहे होते हैं, फिर लोग उनके पीछे चीखें मार रहे होते हैं, नारे मार रहे होते हैं. So you have to take such people out. तो एक ये प्रोटोकॉल होता है. दूसरा ये होता है कि you have to focus on making sure that no material damage is done.
So you tell her to tie her hair because
Yeah.
you feared कि ये
You
can
know, that
also
might trigger
retaliate.
them. Yeah, that might trigger them. And then I, tied her kurta on her
और हाँ
tummy.
कुर्ता भी उसके ऊपर था वो तो मैं
हाँ।
समझ रहा था वो इंटेलिजेंट कि शक्ल ना देख लें क्योंकि शक्ल अगर तो चली गई बाहर
हाँ, तो ये इशू था।
that's a 24/7
और
target.
उससे पहले भी ना उसकी काफी वीडियोस बन चुकी है ना जिसके अंदर उसकी शक्ल अनफॉर्चुनेटली नजर आ रही है. So that led eventually to the second video that was made, which people criticized us for. But considering we deal with all kinds of people, so we kind of know how the society's orientation is like. So for a person who is interacting with a particular class, let it be economic or social, they would not be able to understand certain realities of the society at large, unfortunately. So the ground level realities are somehow different. And you have to take into account the fact that her life does not end at the Ichra incident, right? It continues. So I could be considered the devil's advocate and I could be reprimanded for it. Not that I'm justifying it. Or
this is you mentioning her apologizing?
Yeah, or the police was involved in that apology because हमारे साथ associate कर दी गई ना.
Okay.
The police made her apologize.
But you do think it was the right decision?
No, the thing is that we didn't make her apologize.
Okay.
That's the whole thing. So it was something that was very intelligently done. Why? Because that unfortunately, you might not know who she would be meeting later on. Where she might be walking on the streets. She might go and shop. She might go and pick up her kids from school. So her life does not end around. It doesn't end at this incident, right? That continues. So you might not know who she would be confronted with or by in the future or the near future, in the longer future, in the longer run. So you have to take into account everything realistically, and then if you become the bad person, then so be it.
But this was her call. Okay, I will apologize. Personally, I think I agree. फिर this वाली चीज में मुझे actually इतना यार अब क्या ये this is reality.
And we've seen such we've seen a lot in our past.
अफसोस होता है obviously. एक आदमी अफसोस है.
We have seen a lot of loss in our past. So we need to take into account the kind of realities that we are living or grappling with.
My bigger problem was कि जिन लोगों ने ये किया.
हाँ, the FIR was registered.
FIR registered हुई है मैं सुना. अब उस पे कोई एक्शन हुआ या होगा?
हाँ, तो हो रहा है.
But then you in Mansoor Ali Khan's podcast said they are under your radar. And you're looking after that. After the hype is down, you would be taking.
So we did take them into account.
So why do you think the hype needs to go down before you take any further action?
Yeah, the hype, it's different situations है ना. अब आप देखो कि there are certain things in our society that you have to deal with, and regardless of the fact that they leave you with a mental block and they don't allow you don't allow yourself to fathom them, or you don't allow yourself to admit the kind of realities that you're living in, because you've created for yourself a universe within a universe in our country. So there's a lot that you do not take into account. इसको justify मैं नहीं करूँगी, लेकिन मैं इसको बताने के लिए ना, considering you have mentioned the podcast, वही incident quote करूँगी जो मैंने उधर quote किया था podcast के अंदर. ठीक है? In the same area, there was this blasphemy call, which was right. We took due action. The FIR was registered. 3 days later, there's a call of sodomy, and the mother brings her child in.
The FIR call was again
a different incident.
Different, but it was against somebody.
I'm giving you an example.
Okay.
And it was.
Wow.
So the thing is and that call pertained to sodomy. And the people who were involved in that sodomy were at the police station in my office. The kid who was sodomized was in the police station in my office. And the mother who made the call was in the police station in my office. After half an hour, the woman says that she's not going to register an FIR because उसके जो मोहल्ले वाले वो कह रहे हैं कि मोहल्ले वालों के साथ तुम्हारी ताल्लुकात खराब हो जाएंगे. And some of the very people who basically were advocating for the earlier FIR said that madam ये ना करें, इतनी छोटी तो incidents होते रहते हैं बच्चे की जिंदगी में 2 से 3 दफा जब वो बच्चा बड़ा हो रहा होता है. So these are the realities that you're living in. Your society has certain silos जिनकी morality की definition is different as opposed to whatever your definition of morality is. तो action कब लेना है, कैसे लेना है, किसके खिलाफ लेना है, should be left to the experts, because they are the people who are basically dealing with the pulse of whatever is going on. Certain events and certain things do trigger certain stakeholders. They do, trigger a chain reaction which then leads to a bigger disaster.
But
अब not justifying it again. उस time हम लोगों ने arrest क्यों नहीं किया was because there was an international event going on 3 or 4 kilometers away from the incident. We wanted the incident to be curtailed. We wanted to retain the goodness of whatever had happened and wanted to ensure that it all ends on a positive note. The ugly side of it or the dirty part of it could have been and is being dealt with in a manner that the organization feels fit.
So, but in simple words, there will be some action, but you guys are taking your due time to see the circumstances.
No, in simple words, we've already taken the action and we don't need to talk about it.
So, is that so?
Yeah.
But don't you think, Shehrbano, in terms of, and here's, I think there is that, criticism coming, and this is not, I think, directed at you, but I think it is generally, and I feel very personally about it, and I've always felt about extremism. I think we've grown in a time where extremism has really been part of our lives, in whether you've been bombing or whatever, and even I feel this is a form of extremism, and one that does affect lives, right? I feel whenever this happens, whenever, there is this kind of thing that is happening, always, there is no real punishment.
Don't you think it's a punishment enough? And
I think somebody got saved. I think that's a great thing. But is that punishment for the other side?
Yes. But then again, do we need to talk about the punishment? That's the whole point. Because why would I want to put the life of the woman in danger? Why would I want to put a question mark on the entire event? Why wouldn't take it like I would want to do it? Like, why would...
Sure.
Yeah, why would a case which has been registered and the investigation is going on needs to be discussed to such a length? But I'll give you an example. No, not an example. I would answer your question. The thing is that you said that we have grown up in a time where extremism has been a part of our lives and we all are sick of it. That was the crux of it, right? Achha. So
and no real action has ever been,
Okay. No real action has been taken.
I think start mein jab Taliban is a different one.
I'll give you stats.
I'm talking about this one.
I'll give you stats on that as well. Achha. The thing is that the fact that the society stood up for the woman and the fact that majority is celebrating it as a positive move, that the woman was saved, shows that the society has woken up and is sick of extremism. Prior to this, the criticism used to come from the international grounds and there was no homegrown criticism so vocal on such issues prior to this case.
मतलब वो जो ब्रेक लेन में जो जला दिया था, रिएक्शन तो निकला ही था.
निकला रिएक्शन, पर क्या हुआ? Who was made the bad guy? Were the extremists made the bad guy? No, the police was made the bad guy. Sialkot happened, who was made the bad guy? The extremists were made the bad guy? No, the police was made the bad guy.
This I'm with you.
Yeah, and then the recent incident of lynching happened. There's a video of me coming out on that as well, because you sare kehte hain it's a line of duty, it's the line of duty. So the thing is ke, who was held accountable in that incident? The police was held accountable in that incident. So every time such an incident happens and somebody falters, the only person who's bearing the repercussions of it is the police.
Yeah,
nobody else. The fact that we are having this debate, the very fact that we are having this debate on this issue is because that the life of the woman was saved.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Otherwise,
and I think that has been...
Otherwise, he would have been saying कि खातून को बचा क्यों नहीं सके, पुलिस का प्राइमरी मकसद क्या था? It's such an unfortunate incident. The kind of society that we live in. अच्छा, अब आ जाते हैं कि कभी extremism पे असल action लिया गया है, कभी या नहीं लिया गया. had we not been taking action on extremism, incidents, unfortunate, heart-wrenching incidents like APS would have continued to happen.
I think that's a different outcome. That's
No.
action. I'm talking about domestic extremism, very particular to this. What happened was about to happen when bunch of people who think they have the right to represent religion can come and overtake streets, can make direct threats to the chief or to institutions. It's happened in front of us. This is, and nothing.
I think a lot has happened. And there's a lot that people don't know about. And there's a way that the state has to function, and there's a way that the state functions. And the state cannot tell you everything. I would disagree on you with. I would disagree.
That's
with
fine. You can disagree. But what I'm saying is, do you think?
But the state does not need to publish and advertise every time it has taken an action.
But you don't think there needs to be done more? Needs to be done.
More needs to be done by the society as well.
Fair.
More needs to be done by the community as well. The institutions are doing and playing their part.
And again, here I'm not blaming any institution. I blame politicians here as well. I think, and I'm not going to name.
I don't think anybody needs to be blamed. There is no blame when it comes to this. Nobody wants extremism in the society. Community, the society in general. Everybody needs to question itself and their role.
But tell me,
when it comes to building a better society, you need
how do we do that?
You need to question yourself every time you break a signal as to why you're doing it.
But in this, it's sure. But what I want to know in this incident, what should the community do?
The community should have stood up for her.
But they did.
No. There were 400 to 500 people in that bazaar.
वही तो कह रहा हूँ ना, वो तो extremism. उसको कैसे करता है? उसको कैसे change करे?
This is what you're not understanding, na? When in a mob psychology, the fear of being reprimanded and the fear of facing repercussions and the fear of what might ensue later on stops you from helping an individual. On an individual level, right?
Okay.
And that is where you think that the state institutions should intervene. You need to stop doing that.
Yeah.
For a person who's asking such questions, I think he should stop doing that. So the state, that's where the people think that the state needs to intervene to an extent that ये चीजें फौरन खत्म हो जाएंगी. ये चीजें फौरन खत्म नहीं होंगी. It's a long journey. It's a long journey that the nation had over decades. Everybody has to play a role. We have reached a point where we have started openly criticizing it. So we are moving in the right direction. But if you want all of it to fizzle out in one generation or two, that's not going to happen. We are moving in the right direction. We have started questioning ourselves. We do put down people whenever we see a form of extremism. But we've had a baggage. There is a baggage that we have to carry as well. So when the nation is moving towards reformation, it has to take its due course. It has to take its time. You cannot completely challenge the status quo or whatever has been established over decades, and you cannot just say कि अब सब कुछ खत्म हो गया in एक साल और 2 साल के अंदर मैं सब कुछ ठीक कर दूँगा. So it is an evolutionary process. It's going to, whether you like my answer or not.
No, you have your answer. I have mine. That's fine.
It is going to take its due course.
Okay.
The society has to develop on its own. The society has to mature on its own. It has to see
खुद ही evolve हो जाएगा, ठीक.
होगा. When we would continue to move in the right direction.
What is the right direction?
Right direction is that we start questioning such stuff. Right direction is that when such an incident happens, the community does not take part in.
But community is questioning. Community is saying कि यार जो बंदा ये करता है, and again, this is not a criticism. Please, I don't know what goes.
When did the community question when in the recent lynching incident, which happened in I'm forgetting the name of the district. No, not Jaramwala. Jaramwala is something else. Jaramwala mein community stood up. Jaramwala mein people said it was wrong. Jaramwala mein everybody stood with the Christians.
The houses were touched.
Yes. But that is something that leaves a question on the society.
No, I want to come to the question part you were saying.
The thing is that you're getting into a convoluted debate that
No, I'm not.
The policy makers need to answer. A person who is at the implementation end of it plays a pivotal role in ensuring that no law and order situation is created. and that no mob violates the rights and the sanctity and the self-respect of any person who is being victimized. That's my end of the story. And that is what I've been recruited for, and that's my responsibility as soon as I wear the uniform, and I think I've done a pretty good job when it comes to that.
No, that goes without saying.
Yeah, so the rest of the part of the question can be answered by probably an educationist or an academician or somebody who's professional in that domain.
Fair. That's right. But, okay.
Yeah. So leaving, yeah.
But you'd say, but it's fine. It's not, by the way, the point is not in terms of any way, yeah, nahi, you guys are wrong or anything. मेरा generally, and I think you know me, कि मेरा इस चीज के बारे में, I remember, हमेशा से एक ही stance है कि extremism इस मुल्क का बहुत बड़ा मसला है और वो खत्म होनी चाहिए. And I get it, your part is implementation, but I do feel personally
on a personal level, for a person who's implementing the law, I would say that the community and the society is moving in the right direction. Because what you see are certain incidents जो कि आपने देख लिया, आपको वो इंसिडेंट्स रिपोर्ट नहीं होंगे जहाँ कम्युनिटी ने लोगों को हेल्प किया हो. वो इंसिडेंट्स रिपोर्ट नहीं होंगे जहाँ कम्युनिटी स्टूड अप फॉर पीपल. नहीं, लेकिन देखो ना शिवा, and again I disagree, and I'm not trying to have a debate. ये अपना, it's but I wouldn't say that everybody is bad.
I don't think everybody is bad, but there's definitely एक certain level पे ना यार policy weak है आपकी, मतलब आके रोडों पे for sure, but I feel एक strictness कम है, and it always feels like, and this is coming from we talked about how third party perspective से common man को actually लगता है कि एक certain segment पे, maybe it's privileged, maybe ये मेरी privileged thinking है, हो सकता है कि यार हम are on the back foot. अगर जब भी कोई इस तरह का इंसिडेंट आएगा, जब मॉब मेंटालिटी बन जाएगी, एक पर्टिकुलर अमाउंट के मॉब के साथ कुछ नहीं हो सकता. They will always be the winners. And I think that is unfortunately not a good thing. ये काम किसका है change करना, ये करना, sure, maybe I hope, and this is a gold what, and I hope it will, evolution is the part of it, and evolution you say change करेगी. I would hope that there is more policy from our leaders कि ये इस पे change हो, but I do feel there's a gap. But yes, I also think you did a very stellar job. I'm super proud of you. No.
Now I'm going to come from the opposite perspective. I would say that the fact that you've identified it, and the fact that there's an audience who's going to listen to you, and the fact that people would respond to it, is an example in itself that we are moving in the right direction. That's my answer. The fact that you're sitting in your car, driving around in the city, coming up with such a question, and you have an audience which is going to listen to you, is testament to the fact that regardless of the kind of unfortunate events that we have seen, we're moving in the right direction.
No, inshallah. And always, look, we all, I think, have the same hope कि मुल्क के हालात बेहतर हो. यही मुल्क है और तो नहीं है. So, we don't have any other option. This is it. This has to work. It's like a business. इसी को चलना पड़ेगा. कुछ नहीं हो सकता और. So yeah, man. Obviously rooting for that. Okay, so my other now Shivana's question is also, but I also want to ask something before we jump into other वो कि ये हमने चाय, yes, चाय लाना कहाँ से, धेर और उधर. कुछ वक्त we were in a conversation, so I didn't want to. इधर भी मिल जाएगी, I think.
मिल जाएगी.
या ग्रीनोस वाली जगह पे भी है.
ग्रीनोस पे भी है, लेकिन ठीक है
इधर की सही है. You were saying about some Jimmy's chai.
वो दूसरी साइड पे वो.
Oh, you want this chai, or you want to go? You have a preference on chai?
I think any chai would do.
Any chai would do. Assalamu alaikum.
The chai that I like is on Abbott Road, so that's like too far away from where we are right now.
I don't mind. If it's good chai, we can go to Abbott Road.
It's a very traditional chai. Yeah, I think we should stick to this. You might not like that chai.
नहीं, बड़ी चीजें try की हुई हमने. तो कोई
You might not like that chai.
Why would I not like that chai? Now I feel offended. I want to try the Abbott Road chai.
Let's go to Abbott Road now.
Done. Let's go. Let's do it. Abbott Road की chai. So, according to Shehrbano, I will not like Abbott Road की chai.
Not because he's privileged, but because...
No, not privileged, but...
It's not very privileged.
ठीक है जी. Let's see. मैं भी साथ ही स्कूल में पढ़ा हूँ. Let's see how our tastes are different. Abbott Road की चाय. मैं लक्ष्मी चौक की भी है.
वो लक्ष्मी चौक की है तकरीबन.
फिर शायद ये वही वो तो बड़ी हाल मशहूर है. एक वो जो कश्मीरी चाय होती है. कश्मीरी चाय नहीं है. रेगुलर टी. ओके.
We have to इधर से नहीं सीधा जाएंगे और थोड़ा सा आगे करके we'll take a U-turn, not from here.
ठीक है.
That's a violation.
Little does he know. Chef, you can have a really funny stuff.
और यहाँ आगे से U-turn.
आगे से U-turn. But yeah, so one thing you were telling me, जो मैं actually जानना चाहता हूँ, something about the dog.
First, I would like you to recognize whether this place is a police enterprise or not. ठीक है? इसका चलानी है.
Okay.
Do you think this is a police enterprise?
Oh.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah, and you should see the waterfall and everything in the morning.
ये चीज बन रही थी. हुआ स्ट्रॉन्गर. क्या बन रहा है? Ask somebody as well. यहाँ सीधा यहाँ से.
यहाँ से U-turn ले लो. That's a police khidmat market.
Oh.
And you know the center right. So we've got two centers, right? The one on the left is the one on the right. Is it going to fall again?
मैं इसलिए बहुत.
अच्छा. तो वो वाला जो है ना, it's all for women. So they've got simulators inside. आप उसके अंदर driving सीख सकते हो. It's a facility where you get your license made. It's a brilliant place to sit.
Very good. Honestly लेना.
So it doesn't look like a police enterprise.
हाँ, it doesn't. मुझे वो लिबर्टी वाला बहुत अच्छा लगता है जो बना हुआ है. That's also very pretty.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that is where we started renovations from.
Okay, and you had something to do with it?
Yeah, I did all of that.
Really?
Yes.
There. Okay, that's really cool, man. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that. And इसपे भी you have?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Good with that as well.
No, वैसे वो देखो वो बहुत प्यारा है वो. हाँ, लिबर्टी वाला. पहले मैं समझ नहीं है. It's like देख मैंने कहा नहीं सर अंदर लोग हैं. It's like it's not a monument or something. It's like a whole station.
हम लोगों ने renovate कर दिया था तो people were reluctant to come inside for a day or two because उन्हें लग रहा था कि we've given it away. और फिर ऐसे उन्होंने धीरे से ये हमारे लिए this is like this is how to be from now on.
Yeah. Okay, that's really cool. And you did something which I really liked. You were talking about dog rescue.
Yeah.
Or
animal rescue.
Yeah, that's really cool.
We call it park.
I want to know more about that.
So we've established PRCs or parks.
ठीक है.
3 cities so far. The first one was here in Lahore.
ठीक है.
The second one is in Rawalpindi. The third one is in Gujranwala. And the basic idea is that you can just take your pet in, or any hit and run case could be reported there, or any dog or cat or anything that you want to be taken in can be taken in by PRC, and then they would either ship that animal to the shelter or register an FIR against animal cruelty. We basically we've registered FIRs for animal cruelty.
Yeah, really cool, really good.
Yes.
और आई हैं रिपोर्ट्स वगैरह?
हाँ, रिपोर्ट्स आती है तो हम लोग रजिस्टर कर देते हैं जहाँ में नजर आता है.
Very good, yeah. हाँ, यहाँ भी इस तरह के वो आए हैं ना. वो पता नहीं वो कौन था यहाँ से. एक बंदा वो जो याद है, रिमेम्बर है ना दिस गाय, वो फेसबुक पे वीडियोस डाल रहा था कैट को बहुत पहले years back. वो यूएस में जैसे शुरू थे, इधर भी एक बंदे ने या
डॉग्स के साथ.
And then that tells you a lot about
और अब जो स्ट्रे डॉग्स को करते थे पहले, अब देयर इज अ पॉलिसी ऑन स्ट्रे डॉग्स को भी जाने की. क्यों आई फील ना पहले एक जैसे यहाँ, अब आई डोंट नो है यहाँ एंड इसमें लोगों की भी गलती है जो हमने भी कुत्ते रखे हैं. आई विल बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट, हमने उनकी कलिंग नहीं कराई, वो जो क्या उसे कहते हैं न्यूटर नहीं कराए, और कराना चाहिए क्योंकि बच्चे जाते हैं. बट मेन रीजन होता है यार ब्रीडिंग होगी, ये होगी. बट आई थिंक स्ट्रे डॉग्स है उसका तो बड़ा एक सिंपल सोल्यूशन है, उनको न्यूटर कर दें.
न्यूटर करते हैं बट लैक ऑफ अवेयरनेस की वजह से ना people what you see is that they start throwing stones at them. So if you're throwing stones at the dogs and if you're torturing the dog, it is bound to react.
It is bound to react. Yeah.
So you can't take the dog into you can't reprimand the dog for that. You have to take into account the behavior of the society.
Yeah.
on the street which is doing this.
I agree.
So a lot of awareness needs to come when it comes to animal rights. और एक बड़ी horrible चीज़ है जो कि मुझे समझ नहीं आती है. एक तो ये चीज़ है कि भाई 2 + 2 = 4. So what they start doing is that they start comparing human rights with animal rights. क्या इंसानों को हुकूक मिल रही है?
ये I know.
की बात कर रहे हो?
एक तो पाकिस्तान में हर चीज पे कंपैरिजन है.
Exactly. So they're basically comparing apples with oranges.
Yeah, I agree.
A good thing should be labeled as a good thing. You need to hold your criticism in because we are evolving as a society and we have to look at the positive and less of the negative. It's very important कि आप अच्छे में comparison कर लो, अच्छे में बेहतर हो जाओ. See the goodness in everything instead of saying कि ये काम क्यों कर रहे हो भाई, इसका तो कोई फायदा ही नहीं है, फलाना काम नहीं हुआ था इसलिए. ठीक है. So I don't know, but as a society, probably certain elements, just regressive elements, play a very brutal role when it comes to curtailing positive development.
Yeah, I also feel it's like, maybe it's my personal opinion, society में बहुत गुस्सा है, बहुत एक एंगर है. मैं नोट कर पाकिस्तान जो स्पेशली गर्मियों में आपको फील होता है कि यार everyone is angry.
No.
Like घर में सड़ा हुआ है थोड़ा सा यार.
What's happening? You have no idea. There's so much goodness happening.
Yeah.
So many people doing.
Yeah, for sure. This is more like गुस्सा generally लोग ना अवधान हुए होते हैं थोड़ा जिंदगी से जितने भी मिलो ना, वो है ना, तो बस हर बंदा ना मे भी वही कह रहा ना.
It's not just the weather. It's just like there's a lot that is going on. We need to focus on the goodness.
Goodness
तो very important.
Generally goodness is good.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's very important to be positive.
And this chai, hopefully.
Yeah. I like.
नहीं ये जगह, ये लक्ष्मी चौक है, लक्ष्मी चौक अल मशहूर है इसका. अगर तो लक्ष्मी चौक
मेरे पास there's this small dhaba. I don't go to a fancy place. It's a very small dhaba. It's actually good.
I'm looking forward to this. हमारी एक और adventure.
Again, I'm just saying that I hope you like it. I want you to like it, but if you don't like it, please don't tell me that you don't.
No, मैं तो उस पे हूँ that you made an assumption क्या you won't like it. तो ना ये रास्ते का नहीं पता तो फिर you will not like it, buddy.
It's better to assume that you would not like it.
ठीक, I see how it is. I see how it is. But नहीं, let's see. अब तो मुझे ना भी अच्छी होंगे. Amazing. ये तो मैं पीता रहता हूँ. हमने यहाँ एक और वो है, I don't know if I had अमृतसरी हरीसा. Oh, it's really good. ये लक्ष्मी चौक के एंड पे जाके ना, बिल्कुल हाँ, एक बाबा जी की उसमें तस्वीर है और oh man, really good. मैं उसकी हाइजीन लेवल में कोई कमेंट नहीं कर सकता, वो आपका रिस्क है. Oh, सर्दियों में जुई थी, तो जरा थोड़ा I think, but depend करता है.
I had हीरा चरगा last night. Have you tried हीरा चरगा?
I have not.
It's on Temple.
चरगा तो किया मैंने, हीरा चरगा नहीं किया हुआ मैंने.
हीरा चरगा is good. It's on Temple Road.
Okay. मैंने अमृतसरी हरीसा मुझे ना टू बी ऑनेस्ट यहाँ एक होता था मोहम्मदी की निहारी, ये जो मुझे वो बेहतर लगता है अभी भी. जो बाकी जो है ना डिफेंस वगैरह में खुले दे नॉट द सेम, जो पुराने वाला है उसकी पता नहीं, मुझे तो अभी भी फील आती है.
प्रेस क्लब के सामने से आप गुजरोगे and then you have to take a right.
Okay. अब तो
प्रेस क्लब है
ये
you read it first.
नो यार पता है भाई, हम हम यूज करते हैं ना, हम न्यूज के अंदर हमें प्रेस क्लब का पता है. वो और बात है, हमसे मसले डालते हैं प्रेस पास पे, लेकिन बढ़िया यार
आज के बाद ये जगह
आज के बाद ये नादरा का ऑफिस नहीं आता होगा. नो वे 24/7 सर्विस. I know क्योंकि मैंने बनाया था अपना याद है नाइट को. I know they do a good service. I do.
यहाँ से लेफ्ट.
I agree with नादरा का ये वाला बहुत फिट था कि मेरा लिटरली 24 आज से खुला था और ये बाजार फेस्ट के टाइम में पाकिस्तान आया था मैं.
जो है लिबर्टी वाला the one that you were talking about is open 24/7.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can go there anytime.
Got it. अच्छा, so मेरा अब now I want to also ask, so the main item, I think that question was also coming, कि there are certain, and sure, and my keyboard warriors होंगे, that's why I wanted to just plainly ask you, okay, what ये क्या कहते हैं जी? So were you present at night में?
Where?
Like you were on duty on night में?
Obviously, it's my अपनी area के अंदर present.
And that was Liberty.
Yeah.
That was Liberty.
अस्की टावर पे जब आग लगी.
हाँ.
So there is a.
At 3 in the morning till 5 in the morning I was there.
Okay. So there was कि जो भी भाई एक सेगमेंट है कि उनका कंसर्न है, उन्हें बड़ा मसला है कि वो कहते हैं you were at the day when they were arrests being made, women were arrested and etc, and they say, and they never say the full thing, but they say that Shehrbano was me. That's the more, right? That's the main wo ke there is no other ke kuch aur, but Shehrbano wasn't, was aggressive with them. Now there is no clarification on what is aggressive, what is not aggressive, but the statement is yaar aggressive thi. Now I don't know, so I want to ask you, are these just rumors? Are these keyboard warriors? Was it just duty? Whatever. That's yeah.
There's certain things that don't warrant a reply, and I would just say this.
Okay.
This does not warrant a reply because it doesn't. As far as my duty goes, nobody should be and cannot be allowed to judge the writ of the state. As far as certain people commenting that there were certain individuals who were targeted and whatever is being said, it is something that I wouldn't certify. And as far as whatever happened on 9th May is concerned, all we know is that we are the servants of the state, and the writ of the state में it said, ये रही चार, ये नहीं है, इसे पीछे, ये
Anyway.
Yeah, and the writ of the state was challenged. That's all that we know, and the writ of the state cannot be challenged. You cannot be allowed to create a law and order situation which results in the country facing a disaster economically, results in country facing an embarrassing position internationally, which puts a question mark at the role of the society and at the role of entire state institutions. So any amount of any law and order situation that is created should not have been created. And being the servants of the state, I'm using the word state, we are there to ensure that the sanctity of the state remains. And हमारा domain सिर्फ ये था कि आप आग ना लगाएं, आप पत्थर ना मारें, गालियाँ बेशक में गालियाँ आप निकाल रहे हैं, लेकिन आप चीज़ों को जलाएं मत, आप गाड़ियों को आग ना लगाएं, आप कंटेनर्स को आग ना लगाएं, आप फायर ब्रिगेड्स को जाने दें, उसके अंदर जिसकी डेथ हुई बच्चे की, वो शायद बच जाता कि फायर ब्रिगेड पहुंच जाती टाइम पे. Somebody died in Ascari Towers, and then there was an FIR registered later on. So being the implementer, my domain is ensuring that no law and order situation is created where the writ of the state is challenged. Your right to protest can be done in a civil manner. Your right to advocate what you believe is right can be done in a civil manner. But blatantly challenging the very writ of the state and playing a role in creating a situation where you have hostile institutions and hostile agencies and unfortunately hostile countries laughing at you is not something that we would want for Pakistan. Any person who's patriotic enough wouldn't want that for our country. And we were put in a position which was very embarrassing internationally. That's all that I have to say. I'm actually thinking of another question. It's not like I'm trying to. It's just I know it's going to be awkward, but like.
वो चाय वाला पीछे है शेल पंप के ऊपर.
ना वो यही वाला चाय वाला. मैं यही तो कह रही हूँ ना कि मेरे वाली चाय ये वाली चाय है. हाँ सब कह रहे हैं उन्होंने वो पी हुई है, मैं कह रही हूँ नहीं पी.
मैं जरा भाई से रिकॉर्ड करके आया.
Sure.
सुनो, चीनी उसे कहना ना लेके आए, डाले डिस्पोजेबल कप्स में ले आए, डबल कर दे, और जो चीनी है वो सेपरेटली ले आए.
आप देख लो. You want to take the chai or वो सारा?
Yeah.
Sure, कर लो. Yeah, we take a 5 minute break. Okay, this is Abbott chai.
नहीं, this is वो लक्ष्मी चौक का.
मैंने ना यहाँ एक दिन लिटरली आया था, मैंने खाना भी खाया था. रिकॉर्ड तो नहीं हो रहा? अभी रिकॉर्ड तो नहीं हो रहा?
ओके
नहीं साइन मैं बाद में पूछूँ और बाद में पूछूँ। अप्रूव ब्रो, गुड चाय। मुझे पसंद है कड़क चाय टाइप थोड़ी, जिसमें ज्यादा वो ना हिट लगे, समझे एटलीस्ट। दैट्स व्हाई आई डोंट इवन गेट चीनी, बिकॉज़ मुझे उससे वो होता है।
I think I spent tea on it.
और गोडी हो जाएगा।
मुझे ना वो दे दे, टिश्यू पेपर दे दे।
पीछे होना चाहिए।
Otherwise I'll have to sit.
No, wait. ये और भी मंगवा लेते हैं। Is this fine?
Yeah, it's fine. All the time. Well, how long have you been doing this?
यार पॉडकास्ट
गाड़ी वाला
पॉडकास्ट चल रही है। So this has been, so we've been, there's so many other things we're trying to kind of do, जैसे with the events, and I told you about the marketplace वाली चीज, and then the news element of it. So podcast is literally something like people I want to have a discussion with, gupshup with. So it's more of like an actual discussion of people I kind of familiarize me with as well. So possibly, so जैसे बहुत रेयर, लाइक महीने में एक दफा, देयर बी टाइम है महीने में 2 दफा, बट ऑल्सो एक दफा में कोई बड़े 2 अच्छे लोग मिल गए। जैसे अब मैं नेक्स्ट से करना चाहता हूँ एक्चुअल एक्सरसाइज से। वो बंदा कहता है मैं एक्सरसाइज हूँ, वो बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग कैरेक्टर है, कहता है मैं जिन्हों से भी बात करता हूँ सारा कुछ, तो मैं उस बंदे से करना चाहता हूँ। ऑल्सो आई नो हिम वंस, एक दफा मैंने उसका एक इंटरव्यू भी किया था और बड़ा मजा आया था।
Also do a podcast with grave diggers.
A friend of mine made a documentary on that.
Why would I say that? It's because they have a very different culture.
They do.
And they are doing this for generations. तो वो लोग कब्रिस्तानों में बैठे हुए हैं generations से।
Yeah.
तो उनके दादा भी ये काम कर रहे थे,
उनके generation
ने भी ये काम किया, वो भी कर रहे। So how does that creep into your normal activities, and how does that change your outlook on life? That could be a very interesting conversation.
No, true.
And plus we have one of the oldest and one of the biggest graveyards in the world. Right here in the world.
वो यानी था।
Exactly. It dates back to
यानी था लोगों के किस्से भी हैं, supernatural किस्से भी। I think my Parnana is I think bad.
So if you have you have a lot of heritage that could be tapped into.
For sure.
By getting somebody on board who's been digging graves there.
And these are the stories we kind of...
And then they talk about supernatural stories as well.
I'm sure.
So it's very interesting. Whenever you have a conversation with them, it's always very interesting. Those conversations are very interesting.
A friend of mine made a documentary इसके ऊपर. He also sometimes works with Sarmat Khusat. पूरी short film उसने बनाई थी Grave Diggers पे ही. वो पूरा उसने इंटरव्यू किया। That's why I know a little bit कि उनकी पूरी ये एक कल्चरल चीज है। It's like a generation, दादा भी ये करते थे, वो भी ये करते थे। It is really interesting. मैं आज हाँ जी हो गया।
और कुछ
नहीं आप चाहिए?
नहीं कुछ नहीं चाहिए।
वो we also want to come, but again time के ऊपर है। हम actually बीच में ना मैं start जो हमने किया था which I wanna do again is we used to make documentary, so short documentaries, 7 minute ones, and we made some good ones। जैसे dogs पे बनाई, फिर हमने minorities पे भी एक बनाई, योहानाबाद में एक दफा एक चीज, फिर हम गए उधर क्रिसमस पे, so Shao था, me and Shao went there, we shot the whole thing, it was really cool। So we want to make more of these। जैसे ना हम actually I wanted एक टाइम के ऊपर, and we also had spoken to, I think ये जो हम PITV में होते थे ना सिचुएशन हमारी इंक्यूबेटेड थे, तो उसके बाहर जो मॉडल टाउन जो उधर पुलिस का आई थिंक खाना था ना, वो हमें क्योंकि उन्होंने मुझे काफी हाई लेवल चीजें बताई थी। दिस वाज इयर्स बैक यार, उनका पूरा एक सेफ सिटी जो पूरा आई हैवंट उसका या so I yeah man for sure, done Done.
See whatever we are doing in terms of technology and policing.
Yeah, because they told me some very impressive stuff.
It is.
कि यार इस time तक ये होता है, ये होता है.
We are the only organization which has a QR code so that you can track your document and you could actually give us feedback as well. So there are 2 QR codes on every document of ours. One is for giving direct feedback and the other is for tracking your document. So when it comes to technological advancements, police is doing a lot. So you would be I'm dead sure that you would be, taken aback by whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Because I feel कि हमारी जो ट्रैफिक पुलिस हमने एज कर दी है in terms of उसके जो सारे, because I think it's much superior than
and
other cities.
And you have multiple safe cities sprouting across Punjab as well now.
Okay.
So you're making safe cities in Faisalabad, Rawalpindi, Multan, Sargodha.
Yeah, I want to check that out.
They're mushrooming.
Because I remember in a conversation with you, they even said come, but it couldn't pan out.
You should go there.
Okay.
You should go there. Let us know your availability and
we'll pick Ali as well and we'll bring the camera.
Weekend or the next weekend.
We will ask them as well what works for them too. And
we'll hook you up, give us the tentative dates and then
done.
Then we'll fix it up.
No, that'll be really cool. Thanks.
You could see the big screen.
Yeah, I want to check that.
Talks about.
I do want to check it out.
The moment you enter, you have this huge.
I've seen pictures. हाँ, जैसे वो मेट्रो भी नजर आ रही है. Yeah. और वो कहाँ तक पूरे लाहौर पे expanded?
हाँ, you've got multiple cameras.
You
just get the briefing. Get the briefing from the right person.
Okay. So technically, अब जैसे for example, वो जो इंसिडेंट हुआ था in retrospective इस तरह की चीज के बाद, जैसे remember जो श्रीलंका टीम वाला हुआ था when we were, अब टेक्निकली अब हर जगह कैमरे हैं, उस तरह नहीं लोग भागते हैं कैमरे पे देख लेंगे. अच्छा मेरा ना एक वो था व्हाट्स इट कॉल्ड, तो मेरा एक वो था. थैंक यू अल्लाह करे कारोबार भी चल जाएगा.
ये कट कर दे.
नहीं मैं जरूरी ना ये कट कर देना ये कट कर देना. बट नहीं मोजेज नहीं है. मोजेज तो ख्वाब आया ये बड़ा भाई मोजेज को दिस इज ये भी कट कर देना. मोजेज को ख्वाब आया कि his भाभी had a dream that and he calls me up and he's like यार मुझे ख्वाब आया कि हमजा मदीने में and Hamza change हो गया है and it's really funny that she said it and I kind of let us do this and then we did it at Lahore Fort में. So next time I'll invite you. It was really cool. So colored wall, दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी picture wall है ना, उसके आगे हमने पूरा event किया and it's like a experiential event and Farid Shafi was the highlight. It's never been done before. और picture wall खोल दी उन्होंने up there and Khan worked for like 8 years on that picture wall.
Oh my.
You must have heard of it और अभी भी उस पे काम हो रहा है. And it's all hand. Imagine like a whole picture wall with hands से सब कुछ हुई है. So उसमें हमारा बहुत interaction थी अंदरून के अंदर and
it's a different vibe.
It's a different vibe.
It's a different vibe and there was this French photographer that I was interacting with recently, even today. So she roams around the streets of Lahore on her scooter.
Okay.
Interesting woman. And she was like, I'm in love with Lahore. There's no place like it. And the kind of stories that she shared, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And she was like, I fell in love with the city. It has a different vibe. And the streets, I start missing the streets whenever I go back. So the kind of passion that she resonated, there's a lot of things that we need to take ownership of when it comes to looking at the positive aspect of where we are living. Because जब चीज़ हाथ से निकल जाती है ना और वो चीज़ नहीं रहती, उस टाइम एहसास होता है कि हमने कितनी बड़ी चीज़ खो दी है. So
I do believe ये हमने नोट किया कि अंदरून के अंदर ना it's honestly one of the most friendliest people we've come across. वो आपसे गपशप शुरू हो जाएगा, ठीक है सर, लाहौरी ट्रेट एज वेल. किसी से भी आपकी बातचीत आप जानते ना भी हो तो बातचीत हो जाएगी.
It's a very for me coming from Punjab, I would say it's a very Punjabi.
It is a Punjabi thing.
They open up like this.
But I feel जो modern आपका है ना, अगर जो पुराना लाहौर है still has keeps it more.
जहाँ तक अब ये debate है कि how modernity changes
outlooks
in certain
वो जो मोहल्लापन जो होता था ना,
वो basically हर जगह हुआ है.
हाँ
वो हर जगह है. If you take into account any developed country as well,
true.
उनके small town experiences आपके different होंगे.
They're very different.
और आपके जो commercial hubs हैं उनके experiences different होंगे.
वो कहते हैं gentrification हो रही है.
Exactly. तो वो वाली experiences different होंगे because you end up developing associations on the basis of either economics or something else. ना?
Yeah.
तो वो फिर modernity के अंदर वो चीज़ आ जाती है. Fortunately or unfortunately. But at the end of the day, I would just say that we have a lot to be thankful for. A lot.
True.
I hope my positivity is in some way.
No. It's good. Somebody needs to be positive, you know. And it's always good if police is positive. Like I think that's always a good sign. But अच्छा, so we were ये बीच में उस पर कट हो गया था. We were telling you about वो safe city वाला. कि so safe city वही I was telling you मेरी एक दफा जिंदगी में conversation हुई थी. Because we were incubated in PITB and this guy told me some really, and this is years back, some really impressive things in terms of security जो हो रहा है. तो क्या exactly safe city project? It's like, yeah, tell me a little bit about that. That was the cool stuff.
It basically focuses on relying on technology to ensure that you're able to cater to all the needs pertaining to ranging from security to crime prevention to crime detection to investigation and maintaining law and order. I hope we got this. And maintaining law and order and stuff. So what the idea is to install cameras across the city and have a network and then have a hub which monitors everything that is going on. And it not only looks into traffic violations but also caters to who did what, how was it done. And you then have face detection. We have recently started face recognition. So we started installing face recognition cameras as well. And that is, by the way, homegrown. That technology is homegrown. So you would be very, very entertained if you ever visit Safe City and look into how much police has done in terms of improving or catering to its technological aspect.
Yeah, honestly, I don't want mine to become a political statement, but being incubated in PITB, हमने first hand देखा था कि जो plan 9 और जो काम हुआ है ना और उसके surrounding is top class. I was actually very dude. मैं if you remember, I was always very critical. और लगता है लोगों को ना गवर्नमेंट इतना काम नहीं करती होगी. एक हमारी हमेशा से वो है.
That is why opening up in terms of interacting with the public by using the social media platform in a positive manner is needed. There was a discussion recently in Civil Services Academy where this was the debate. We went there, a couple of offices of all ranks. So I was like, why wouldn't we want to know? Why wouldn't we want people to know कि मेरा ASI या हमारा कांस्टेबल रात के 3 बजे या 4 बजे चौक के ऊपर खड़ा होकर ड्यूटी कर रहा है? मैं क्यों नहीं चाहूंगी कि मैं लोगों को ये पता चले कि मेरा ASI अपनी तनख्वाह के पैसों से गुमशुदा और अनआइडेंटिफाइड डेड बॉडीज को दफनाता है. मैं क्यों नहीं चाहूंगी कि लोगों को पता चले कि वो कफन देता है डेड बॉडीज को जिनको कोई हाथ लगाना पसंद नहीं करता, उन्हें गुस्ल दिलवाता है और फिर उनका जनाजा पढ़वाता है और उनको दफना के आता है अपनी तनख्वाह से. ठीक है, why wouldn't I want people to know that we as an organization have so much religious tolerance कि हम लोग इमाम बारगाहों के बाहर भी वैसे ड्यूटी करते हैं, मजालिस में, मुहर्रम के दिनों में, सफर के दिनों में, जिस तरह हम लोग ड्यूटी करते हैं चर्चेस के बाहर, जिस तरह हम लोग ड्यूटी करते हैं मदरसों के बाहर, जिस तरह हम लोग ड्यूटी करते हैं मसाजिद के बाहर. क्यों नहीं मेरे कांस्टेबल की किसी तरह की इस तरह की कंप्लेन आती है? ठीक है ना. सो आई वुड वांट पीपल टू नो कि we are playing a role. My constable is going to my ASI or our ASI and sub inspector is going to रात के 2 बजे वो एक एक्सीडेंट जिसके अंदर ये हुआ है रियल लाइफ इंसिडेंट का, जो अपना एक सब इंस्पेक्टर बता रहा था कि बाईपास के ऊपर सर जो ट्रक है ना वो गाड़ी के अंदर क्रैश कर गया. बाईपास है फैसलाबाद अली रोड के ऊपर ना, सारा जंग वगैरह वो सारा कुछ कनेक्ट होता है और 6 लोग एक ही घर के अनफॉर्चुनेटली उसमें उनकी डेथ हो गई. और कहता है हमने गठरियों के अंदर डेड बॉडीज उठाई और उसके बाद 9 बजे मैंने हाई कोर्ट में पेश होना था तो मैं लाहौर की बस पकड़ के लाहौर आ गई. ठीक है ना. सो दैट इज द काइंड ऑफ पोस्ट ट्रॉमेटिक स्ट्रेस दैट वी आर डीलिंग विद एंड नोबडी टॉक्स अबाउट. सो आवर जॉब्स आर नॉट जस्ट जो हमें कहा जाता है कि आप अपनी लाइन ऑफ ड्यूटी के अंदर वो काम कर रहे हैं. अरे भाई 8 घंटे होता है.
No, no, I can vouch. It's 1 a.m. They're working.
8 घंटे होता है, 18 घंटे नहीं होता.
Yeah.
इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडर्ड से इंग्लैंड की पुलिस is spending 240 pounds per person, and we are spending 3 pounds per person.
Yeah.
Only in Lahore when it comes to crime prevention and crime detection. So, ठीक है, we are open to criticism. Criticize us as much as you can, and as much as you should, for us to improve. But at the end of the day, look at the goodness of the civil institutions as well, because ownership comes from the people. You need to start owning your state institutions. आप गिरेबान ना पकड़े ट्रैफिक वार्डन का अगर आपको वो कह रहा है कि आपको चलाना.
बिल्कुल.
आप उसे थप्पड़ ना मारें अगर वो कह रहा है कि उसे
और आप उसे ना कहें, मुझे जानते हैं, मैं
आप जानते नहीं मुझे, मैं आपका क्या हाल करूंगा, और उसको चपेट मारते हैं.
Completely.
Please don't do that. ठीक है ना. तो it's a relationship which is based on reciprocity. The social media, coming back to square one, has basically helped us bridge that gap. It has actually allowed us to tell our story, our end of the story, to the people who are ready to criticize us. So yeah.
No man, that I completely agree. I think एक जो एक है ना हमारे, maybe that's a global problem or whatever, but एक definitely इस मुल्क में problem है. We as a society ना, we are very, it's always easy to criticize. All the easiest thing you can do, यार नहीं ये तो खराब, ये तो मिला हुआ है, ये तो सिफारिश, everything.
And you know, my mother used to believe the criticism. It happened in my actual house. Till she ended up realizing that it was happening to her own daughter. ठीक है. तो जब मेरी वालदा को फोन में सो रही थी तो मेरी वालदा उठा के आती रहती क्योंकि लोग कह रहे हैं कि तुम्हारी 4 साल की बेटी है. And I was like, yeah, welcome to the life of social media.
No way.
There was this post going viral. And then they started associating me with different people that I would love to be associated with.
But then, right after
given the kind of good work that they've done in Mandashke, so and I'm like, अच्छा ठीक है. So and people actually fall for that.
Yeah. People do.
It's kind of interesting and very marshy ground.
Social media is such a weird, like before मेरे dad मुझे एक बार ऐसी वीडियोस भेजते हैं WhatsApp पे, मैं आपको क्या कहता भाई नहीं सच, प्लीज स्टॉप बिलीविंग इन दिस. जैसे भेजा हुआ था वाईफाई के नुकसानात और पता नहीं वो ना हमारे पे अब ये हैक हमें ना सर्विलेंस हो रही है भाई. देखा बहुत मसले होंगे. ये नहीं हो रहा, ये देखिए ये पॉसिबल नहीं है, ये लाइक बहुत कम्प्लेक्सिटी है इसके अंदर.
So that's where the community again needs to play a role in deciding what is going to listen to and what is not.
हाँ, and the thing is कि maybe हम थोड़ा बहुत लॉजिक कर भी लें, but there's certain लोग जो लॉजिक को देखते ही, I think, and you know the new problem with social media unfortunately is कि पहले it was at least ये जो काफी सारे मसले थे ना, ये वो भी गलत था, अदर था हमारे कि हम इनसे सेपरेट है. अब इट्स लाइक इट डजंट मैटर व्हाट इज राइट और रॉन्ग, इट इज यार मेरा बंदा ये है, मैं अब इससे अलाइन करता हूं तो अगला बंदा खराब है. इस versus, which is very problematic.
At the end of the day, it's all about the country.
Yeah, it should be.
It should be, and people need to realize that as well.
Yeah. But no man, as rumor goes, that's a funny one. Oh.
So how would you cater to the social media trolls alleging that you are,
You don't need to cater to that.
at the same time it would, negate the positive image of police?
But I think anybody who chooses to see the positive would see the positive. And anybody who chooses to see the negative would eventually end up seeing the negative.
Because I feel the trolls जो है ना, I actually believe कि इनसे अगर आप करोगे ना debate, they are waiting. That's what they want. That's because I think mostly अली गुलपीर से इकरा पॉडकास्ट कहता है, वो भी कहता है मुझे ना ट्रोलिंग के ऊपर. I feel lot of these people जो ट्रोल करते हैं ना, उनको रियल लाइफ में ना वो बंदा आपसे कभी नहीं बात करेगा. आपसे असली में कभी मिलोगे ना, जैसे कभी बार इंटरनेट में ऐसी चीजें लिखी तो हो ही नहीं सकता वैसे आपसे बात करे ना, हो ही नहीं, पॉसिबल ही नहीं है. नॉर्मल इंसान से जब आप मिलते हो, सोशल मीडिया की ना, I think it gives people this other personality. Liberty to say whatever.
I wouldn't say it's just social media. Let's talk about this phenomenon generically. ठीक है, at the universal level. अच्छा. Follow me on this. See? So the premise is that the very moment a third medium is introduced in your conversation between you and the rest or in your interaction between you and the rest, you have a tendency to not act like yourself because the medium hampers or let's say obstructs or curtails the emotional quotient. Example, when you used to fight using a sword, and kill somebody, that emotional toll would have been different as opposed to you taking a gun and shooting a person. Okay? When you are launching an attack through a missile in some other terrain, in a geographical location which is thousands of miles away from where you're sitting, even if you end up killing 1,000 people, the emotional toll would be different. Okay? Similarly, when you're having a conversation face to face, the emotional connect would be different. And when you're using a medium in between to get your point across, the emotional quotient would come crashing down, because of which you might end up saying stuff that you would not have said otherwise. So the idea is that whenever you introduce a medium when it comes to your interaction or your action, things are going to significantly change because that medium would alter the emotional equation. So that's my take on it.
आपको separate कर देगा.
And that is what research shows as well. So that is why, because we are just looking at it from the social media perspective. But इसको किसी भी perspective में देख लो.
It's a medium kind.
When you imagine yourself riding on a horse, having a swinging sword, charging towards 100 people.
I like that.
The kind of bravery and the kind of emotional high-headedness.
Is higher.
Exactly.
Never Saladin was the great.
Again, your perspective. So
but fair.
So the thing is that.
No, but what I'm trying to say, Saladin ko isliye itna credit milta hai, he was in the field, right? As compared to some general on a.
Exactly. And you should see the way he acted, right? So emotional quotient jo hai na, that alters. The equation changes. So that's why people go.
But they're annoying regardless. I know you can't say that.
I know, I wouldn't comment.
Fair. No, you don't have to, but we feel it though. it is annoying. But one thing, it's maybe slightly very off topic, you said facial recognition भी अब safe city में है, तो मतलब अब अगर बत्ती तोड़ी जाए तो you can.
You'll be e-challan जो है
हो जाएगा, right?
We've started e-challan.
हो चुका है. There we go. It works.
So because you know why? अच्छा ये बड़ा एक interesting phenomenon है. अगर कोई बंदा वार्डन खड़े होके इधर आपका चलान काटे, तो you would start having aversion towards that warden. है ना? होगी ना mental aversion.
ठीक है.
अगर कैमरा चलान काटे, तो you would actually have a mental aversion towards modern technology. So that again alters. So either the idea of technology is to not make the traffic warden look like a bad guy.
Yeah, and also आप खुद भी आप में होगे, आपने रुकना है कुछ कहीं भी.
Now it's on you.
Yeah.
So either you're the good guy or the bad guy.
Yeah.
So that it's kind of weird. Humans are very interesting creatures.
We are, and I do think society definitely can be taught. Like I think we have definitely those examples, and society can change, and the example is societies have changed.
But with the introduction of facial recognition and recording people via safe city, there is another major difference over here. There is
Privacy consent.
Consented recording of people.
No. That's not unconsented recording. You signed up for it the moment you were born in a country which has a social framework which is called a constitution. That's not unconsented. The very bedrock of your rights is on the basis of the constitution that you adhere to, and the constitution gives us the right to safeguard the rights of the people, and this is something that is going to allow us to safeguard the rights of the people. It's a very outdated debate that cameras are basically curtailing or violating the privacy of man. They might be violating the privacy of a person if that information is being used adversely.
So this time around, Aurat March in its manifesto portrayed that the surveillance system introduced by the Safe City and other different things is violating the rights of normal individuals living in the country.
I think given the kind of spectre of terrorism that we've seen and the kind of things that have been happening, this is too small of a perspective to entertain, and we have to look at the bigger picture. It not only includes the violation would come from the state's end if any video is leaked. The violation is going to come from the state's end when somebody is going to abuse their power. The violation is going to come from the state's end when some employee would decide to leak information pertaining to a particular individual. If all of this is not being done and the privacy is being adhered to, then it's our duty and it's the constitutional right of every citizen of Pakistan to feel secure. And for that, installation of cameras plays a pivotal role. And it's again, we are criticizing for the sake of criticism because you have there are more cameras in America than there are people.
Yeah.
And there are more cameras in European countries than there are people. And there are more cameras in China and other countries than there are people. So this is the need of the hour because given the kind of population that we have, given the kind of convoluted social urban development that we have, it's practically impossible to keep a check and to ensure security without the help of technology.
Under the wall. That's true. Go.
So this time around, we saw Aurat March there was visible representation by the female officers of Punjab Police.
Did you like that?
Yeah.
I thought
I
it was going
was
to be criticized.
In the course of past,
And you know, this
I like this
and this clearly you're enjoying that. Is why we've been at it for the last 2 hours, and I was told that it would last for 40 minutes.
That is.
ये क्या हो जाएगा?
Also, the thing is that we have recruited transgenders in police.
Yeah.
They are victim support officers. They take care of the vulnerable community. I would like you to meet some of our victim support officers.
For sure.
And you have interviewed them.
Yeah.
They're in uniform. Have you met Zanaya?
Yeah.
I am so happy that you've met Zanaya. You should meet Masooma as well. You should meet Kashish. In all the 36 districts of Punjab, the victim support officers are transgenders.
Very cool.
And now we have opened a school for them called the Tahaffuz Darska, which is going to have a hostel as well.
Okay.
Has a hostel as well.
Okay.
And has vocational training along with primary, secondary, higher school studies. And any transgender who no longer wants to live anywhere in order to break the cycle of exploitation, we're asking them to fill the form and get themselves admitted in the Darska. The food would be provided for.
Okay.
The transportation would be provided for. The shelter would be provided for. They just have to study and learn a skill.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so we're basically trying to break the cycle of exploitation. And we would inshallah be recruiting, the headmistress inshallah is going to be a transgender as well.
Okay.
And we're doing pretty cool stuff that nobody knows about.
Yeah, man, this is actually really cool. Yeah, I didn't know. Because we do work with like a handful of trans activists. Yeah. Anaya, Mehrab, and they've all been doing really cool stuff. But that's Shehzadi, But no, that's cool. अच्छा एक जो मैं उस वक्त भी we were discussing the whole, you said a crime unit.
Organized crime unit.
Organized crime unit. So I'm generally very curious on, and we've also made videos on serial killers वगैरह and सारा कुछ. And so I kind of wanna know कि अच्छा क्या mandate है, because हम ना obviously इतना सारा कुछ मुल्क में चल रहा होता है. But I was like बड़ा curiosity थी एक दिन यार यहाँ पे serial killers होते होंगे पाकिस्तान में, I'm sure. तो उनका कोई होता है track, like is there an officer who investigative and
वो recently जो हम लोगों ने serial killers देखी है ना, वो आया
हथौड़ा ग्रुप. we know about हथौड़ा ग्रुप.
फिर आया
पत्थर ग्रुप. मुझे हथौड़ा ग्रुप का पता है.
पत्थर ग्रुप की फॉर्म में the current IGP who was serving at ASP City.
ठीक है.
He was here at ASP City.
सही है.
That's when the पत्थर ग्रुप came in.
And what did the पत्थर
They
को फिर
used to pick up stones and they used to smash the heads of people.
हम थोड़ा
sleeping.
यही नहीं करता था
यही करता था
यही करता
लेकिन
था
ये लोग पत्थर मोड़
ये पत्थर मोड़ में सही कॉपी कैट किलर ओके
So we have had our share of pretty deviant stuff. We have had the cannibals of Hakkar.
so cannibal I know एक पे तो मूवी वगैरह भी बनी है
We
but
had the cannibals of Hakkar and we have been renovating the police museum and the central police office.
okay
And we have displayed the very utensils that they used to take the graves in
और
the
वो ग्रेव
museum.
हाँ
So we have preserved those.
and these are region पे मूवी भी बन रही थी ये
ये
सेम
तो
जो दो भाई थे
दो भाई थे
वही ना हाँ 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 बड़ी हाँ that was वो एक बार पकड़े बिकॉज अच्छा ये मैंने भी पूछा था supposedly पाकिस्तान में कोई लॉ है नहीं कैनिबलिज्म पे सो दीस पीपल वर कॉट इनिशियली बट कोई आदमखोर का कोई लॉ या है क्या चक्कर है कुछ इस पे थी एक लीगल कम्प्लेक्सिटी
नहीं लीगल कम्प्लेक्सिटी ये था कि पीपीसी के ना ऐसा सेक्शन जरूर कितना मौजूद होगा
Okay.
आई वुडंट से कि नहीं है और उसके बाद फिर आपकी लीगल जजमेंट्स भी आई होंगी इसके ऊपर
ठीक है।
I wouldn't say कि नहीं है
तो मतलब के हो सकता है अगर कोई
हाँ,
बंदा कैनिबल पकड़ा जाए
President
बिकॉज दे weren't obviously eating live but they were grave की बरमती यही केस तो ये बनेगा ना उनपे
हाँ लेकिन बेसिकली they were eating dead
हाँ नहीं है गलत मैं सिर्फ उसी कम्प्लेक्सिटी से कह रहा था तो इससे मैं बॉयज को नहीं कहता बहुत अच्छा कर रहे थे बट मैंने सुना है कि लाइक और भी लाइक वो यानी कैनिबल्स मतलब I'm sure और मिले और भी टाइप के मिले हैं असली जिंदा लोगों को
it's reported आपको जो आपके केसेस होते हैं ना वो रिपोर्ट होते
हाँ
हैं
हाँ
उनके ऊपर पुलिस एक्शन भी लेती है ठीक है लेकिन बहुत सारी चीजें अंडर रैप्स इस वजह से भी रहती हैं कि कम्युनिटी रिपोर्ट नहीं करती
रिपोर्ट नहीं
ठीक है
किया
अब अनफॉर्चुनेट जो हमारा इंसिडेंट हुआ था which shook the entire nation to the core it was very very sad was the Zainab murder case
yeah
it was very unfortunate और उसके अंदर भी the person who was involved in this had done it multiple times and the community knew about it but nobody reported it so इधर फिर onus of responsibility comes on the community as well
कहते हैं कसूर में it's been going on
नहीं onus of the community जो है that plays a pivotal role. Police is playing its role. All the state institutions are going to play its role. लेकिन आपको legal domain में भी you've been in touch with law as well. I hope so. Legal domain में भी एक debate होती है. वॉर से सुनना बात debate होती है कि क्या ये कानून काम करेगा या नहीं करेगा. We are one of the countries जिधर legislation बहुत ज़्यादा हुई है. ठीक है? Law की efficacy जो है ना जिस तरह एनिमल क्रूअल्टी का लॉ जो है वो तो पूरा बना के चला गया था ना ठीक है लॉ की एफिकेसी जो है वो comes into play the moment society thinks that this is such a big issue that it needs to take into it needs the law needs to be implemented so the laws exist implementation end के ऊपर the society needs to respond to the law चाइल्ड लेबर का लॉ जो है वो एग्जिस्ट करता है लेकिन सोसाइटी के अंदर एक एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी है कि चाइल्ड लेबर अलाउड
That's a very good point.
now
I get it. Yeah,
so the potency of the legislation primarily depends on the response of the society towards that particular legislation. This is, I think we had a very intellectual discussion.
No, that was actually that's a good point. Obviously, child labor पे और भी complexity है हमारी economy.
No, it's not just child labor, na.
But I get your point. That was a good example.
How whether the law is going to respond, whether the law would be effective or not, primarily rests upon the response of the community that the law has been made for. ठीक है because I'll give you an example there are certain countries जिसके अंदर अभी भी and there are certain towns in England जहाँ अभी भी law exist करता है कि you're allowed you have to Google this you're allowed to throw away your human waste within this particular time period in the alley you're allowed to do that it still exists you have to Google it
okay
I don't remember the very town
ठीक है
अब that law is still in place but you don't see people throwing human waste outside their windows in the alley in that particular time period because the community has stopped responding to that law. The community has outgrown that legislation.
Outdated हो गया वो भी
So basically, it primarily the legislation and its efficacy depends on the cognitive receptibility or the acceptability of the nation that it has been crafted for.
I would like to end this podcast. Good. Nice and
I'm good.
Fair enough, sir. Anyway, dude, thank you so much for coming.
Thank
Regardless, it was really nice to have you, and I have to say, in like I think I've known meeting you after over a decade. The last PSL meeting doesn't count, but I can only say super proud.
Thank you.
Yeah. And बाकी बात नहीं. But no, thanks for coming in, and guys, this is it.